This is going to be a response to Happy Healthy Vegan. I'll put a link in the description. Happy Healthy Vegans, actually, I think one of the good vegan channels. And you know what kind of proves this? Him and his wife's channel is still around. And look at all the ones that are gone. He was probably there before these channels. Like 2016, 2017. And he's still here. So respect to Happy Healthy Vegan. But he did ban me once. So when I watched this video, I'm like, well, I can put a comment. But I'm like, no, he banned me. And also I kind of enjoy every now and again responding to him. So let's watch this video. It's called The Undeniable Argument for Veganism. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what he means by argument, because you could have an argument to say, well, here's an argument why I went vegan, or here's an argument why veganism is good, or here's an argument why you should think about being vegan, whatever. But when it says the undeniable argument for veganism, that makes me think it might be this kind of crazy ethical political argument where it's like veganism is right and everything else is wrong. And that's when it gets dangerous, and that's when even though the whole vegan movement has completely collapsed, it's gone now, I still feel compelled to reply.
The conclusion is very clear that humans should not be consuming and or exploiting animals. Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So on what?
Oh, this guy and his missus and that, they also like make music. If I remember, I'll try and put a link to their like music channel. It's actually some of their stuff surprisingly good.
One of my recent live streams, some hater guy came and said, your arguments for...
Some hater guy. Well, okay. I've followed this guy for years. Do you know what a hater is to him? A hater is just someone that disagrees with him. So, that's it.
Veganism are weak. I laughed because I know I haven't ever made a proper argument for veganism. I even challenged him to produce for me one of these weak arguments I've made. Well, he ended up running. But anyway, that point kind of stuck with me because I should have made it.
No, you shouldn't. You don't need to, man. You don't need to make an argument for veganism and how I think this is going to go. Isn't it better just to lead by example? You know what I mean? Like, I look at this guy, and I'm not going to say how old he is, but he's getting on, you know? He's been around a while. But he looks pretty fucking good, and no homo. That's something that might make people want to go vegan. Or like his energy, how he lives. Like, that's going to make people want to go vegan. These undeniable argument for veganism, that's not really going to convince anyone, I don't think, to become vegan. It might help people who are already vegan, maybe support them. Okay, I'll give it that.
An argument for veganism by now, given I've had this vegan YouTube channel since 2013, and before that, in the 90s, I got a bachelor's in philosophy. And
see, I was right, 2013. He's like the OG. He's like the OG. Him and his wife. They're pretty much the originals.
I even went to a PhD program and dropped out of that. So yeah, it's been quite a while since I've done any actual work or study or writing in philosophy, but nonetheless, I set this challenge for myself to create a powerful, undeniable argument that concludes with human...
Like, okay, I did not go to university. I did not drop out of a PhD program. I'm not a master of language or any of this logic shit. And it's all language based, right? But an argument is an argument. So you can't have an undeniable or completely correct argument, because then it's not an argument. I don't know, am I right? We need a twisted hippie to school me on this. But like, an argument is putting forth something, isn't it? Putting forth a point of view or something. You wouldn't use the word argument if you're going to say undeniable, completely 100% argument. You just say, this is a fact, or this is a factual statement. I don't know, fuck, man. This is why, like, I think this is all bullshit.
Ought not consume animals. In addition, one of my goals here was to create an
And he said, like, ought not to. Ought is like a very philosophical term. It's not like something that normal people use.
Argument that didn't take the length of, say, a philosophy paper, or even worse, like a book, to explain. No, this argument takes the form of a syllogism, meaning the conclusion.
Yeah, like, from what I've seen, like, syllogisms, I don't even really know what a fucking syllogism is, I'll be honest. It's just, like, Discord debate shit. It's just, like, philosophy bros kind of talking shit. And if the idea of veganism is to get more people vegan, most people like myself will not really know what a syllogism is and not give a shit about any of this debate bro shit. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really apply to how people think and how people respond to new ideas. And like, they've got this name the trait. That's supposed to be a syllogism, I think. And it's bullshit. Like, name the trait, all it really is, at the end of the day, is trying to trick someone into saying like an oxymoron or like a contradiction. Like, what is a human that's not a human is basically what name the trait is. It's like a trick.
Follows.
Okay, and then we will speak about that. Again, I will ask
Okay, focus.
Meaning the conclusion follows given the premises that precede it. And one last goal I set for myself here was that I wanted my argument to be a unique work. I want to contribute a new...
Like, I'm not like shitting on Happy Healthy Vegan here for trying to, whatever he's trying to do here, make like a perfect, undeniable argument for veganism, but he's not going to get there. I can guarantee it. And he's going down the whole road of like these kind of Discord, autist people like Ask Yourself and Dr. Avi, who are unable to communicate with anyone outside of their little clique. They're unable to have any kind of charisma or even like, what's the word? Interpersonal skills. They are lost in their own bullshit world spiral of this like logic bro shit. And I'm not sure why Happy Healthy Vegan is even trying to go into their insanity. He's had like a channel he just had from 2013, right, on veganism. And he's just said, I've never done this argument before. I've never tried to make an argument. Why do it now? He's probably been very successful in his vegan outreach just by being himself and being a chill guy and that kind of shit.
Novel argument for veganism, and I think I did here because I did a review of the history of arguments for veganism and animal rights, and most of their arguments were based in animal sentience. And as you'll see here, I did something a little bit different. I'll explain when we get to it all. So anyway, let's have a look at my argument. And don't worry if you see some words here that you don't know what they mean, I'll explain them very carefully. But premise 1, agents have inherent rights that protect their well-being. 2, animals are agents. They pursue...
Okay, he's going like really fast for me here. So I'll have to like review it later because I guess he's going to say them slowly.
Goals, learn, and adapt to their environments. Premise 3, consuming animals entails treating them as mere resources rather than as agents with their own interests. Premise 4, treating an agent as a mere resource violates that agent's inherent.
I will say, like, I'm not entirely sure exactly the definition of premise, but so far it sounds like premise means assumption.
Rights. Conclusion. Therefore, humans ought not consume animals. So hopefully I didn't scare anyone off here. I understand today's video is a little different from my normal types. This seems more like a philosophy class to you, but fear not. As I said, I'm going to explain everything clearly to you. I'm not going to do some kind of Jordan Peterson word salad.
But because meat has also been deemed yet something else that is destroying the planet, the woke narcissists of compassion are already insisting that people eat less of it.
And this is like one thing at Happy Healthy Vegan. I'm on board with Happy Healthy Vegan right now. Jordan Peterson is an embarrassment to the entire whatever faculty or whatever it's called of academia, and he's more than that an embarrassment to people like me who are, I'm not a full-on carnivore, but you know, people like me, and he's an embarrassment to Canada.
So remember, this argument is a syllogism, and it happens to be in a valid form, meaning that my conclusion necessarily follows if all my premises are true. And I'm going to show you now that each...
Okay, so like, I just called that, okay. I've not studied any of this shit, right? I'm not twisted hippie. But yeah, he just basically said that my conclusion is true if all of my premises are true. He ran through those premises really quick, right? And I didn't see them as like, unless the word premise means assumption. And to me, a lot of those premises were wrong assumptions, then your conclusion isn't right. I don't know, like, let's just go back a little bit to say what, yeah.
Technical, philosophical jargon words that I used in my argument. I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep this as simple and easy to understand as possible, but agency is key here. As I said, I decided to go with agency rather than sentience because I believe it produces a much stronger argument. So let's see what the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy says what agency is.
Oh, I went back or not back enough. Here we go, yeah.
Meaning that my conclusion necessarily follows if all my premises are true. And I'm going to show you now.
Yeah, so like my conclusion follows if all of my premises were true. I briefly heard those premises and they did not seem true to me. And wouldn't you need to go to extreme lengths to prove those three premises?
That each premise is true. So let's start off with the first premise. Agents have inherent rights that protect their well-being. So I think
Okay, so that's like a language thing. So we've got the word agent or agency. So, you know, you can open a dictionary and go, well, go to agent, agency, agent, and read this. Okay.
to start off by briefly discussing what agency means. It's one of the few technical, philosophical jargon words that I used in my argument. I'm telling you, I'm trying to keep this as simple and easy to understand as possible, but agency is key here. As I said,
You know, like, what simple arguments are is simple. You know, if you want to have a simple argument, it's pretty simple. It's like a sentence or two, and it's something that anyone can understand. You don't need a degree in philosophy and have dropped out of a PhD program to understand it. That's what, in my opinion, a good argument is.
Decided to go with agency rather than sentience because I believe it produces a much stronger argument. So let's see what the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy says what agency is.
Okay, it's going to say the same shit, but it doesn't matter. It's like, this is going down this completely wrong road of thinking that if I can come up with a logic bro fucking argument for veganism, it's going to make any difference. It's not. What I think a vegan needs to do is convince people why it's wrong to eat animals or why it's better not to eat animals. That's it. You don't need all of this shit.
Because in very general terms, an agent is a being with the capacity to act, and agency denotes the exercise or manifestation of this capacity. And on Wikipedia, they described agency as having goal-directed activity. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything grand.
You could make some like great philosophical or ethical bro, Dr. Avi, Ask Yourself, autistic retard, watertight, mathematical, ethical arguments against lots of things that everyone does, or that many people do, and explain it to them, and they're not going to change.
And it just means having the ability to make choices and pursue goals, like me deciding what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. So now that we have a better understanding of what agency is, let's have a look at premise one more time. Agents have inherent rights that protect their well-being.
Right, so that's great. That's premise one. Or I would call it assumption one, or whatever, because you're going to try and build on that. You're going to build on this idea that agents have this right, which is correct.
You're probably wondering, where did I get this whole notion about agents having inherent rights? Am I making this up? No, this is well-grounded in moral philosophy, and it has to do with this capacity to be able to make decisions, pursue goals that grants beings a special status. In the ethics of philosopher Immanuel Kant, one of the most influential philosophers of all time, he says, if you can set ends for yourself, you can't be rightly treated as just a means for someone else's purposes. You have to be respected as an end yourself.
Right, and what was he talking about there? Humans, not animals.
This electric water pump is super convenient.
Fuck.
Treated as just a means for someone else's purposes. You have to be respected as an end yourself. So in Kantian ethics, and more so as we'll see from contemporary Kantians, there's a grounding between having agency and having moral status. Once again, let's look at the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on this article of...
You know, this idea like moral status, it kind of reminds me of the name the trait thing, where like, Ask Yourself, who's like the king of the Discord vegans or whatever, like, and he made this name the trait thing, which is apparently a syllogism, but if you look at it, it's basically just trying to trick someone into a contradiction of like trying to say what is a human that isn't a human, or what isn't a human that is a human. And one of the things that he used in that is like of moral value. Now this guy, a happy, healthy vegan, hasn't used that. He's talking about moral status, that's fine. But it just reminds me of this of moral value thing, which I had to look up on Google for like a long time to try and find what is moral value. And this moral value thing is a term from like some obscure philosophy thing, which some obscure philosopher used to define something which is very black or white. It's very on or off, this or that. And he had to, because in philosophy, like the little bit of philosophy I've read, that these guys have to invent their own words to describe shit. And it was one of these things. It's like a word that no one uses. Only this guy invented it. No one understands it apart from if you've read this particular philosophy thing, and it's very black and white, which is why it could apply to the name the trait thing, but why it really in real life it makes no sense to anyone's head at all.
Moral ground.
I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm thinking Happy Healthy Vegan has taken inspiration, and now he's going on this moral status thing.
In Kantian ethics, and they say it's exactly this capacity to set ends or goals. So unfortunately for Kant, writing this like 250 years ago, he didn't understand all we do now about, say, animal science, animal behavior.
All right, so like Immanuel Kant, when he's writing his masterwork about philosophy of man, I'm guessing, he didn't even realize that he was talking about animals. What a dick.
He thought animals operated only on instinct. We know much more about that now. So because of that, he believed that only...
Well, so like, if you're gonna use, if he believed that animals were autonomatrons or something, why are you using his philosophy to argue your point?
humans, rational humans, you had to have the capacity of rationality in order to have full moral...
Like, I'm sorry, I didn't go to fucking university, okay? I'm sorry, I've not been in debate societies and shit. I do not understand this mathematical ethics. I did not study philosophy, but am I wrong?
He believed that only humans, rational humans, you had to have the capacity of rationality in order to have full moral status.
Right, so why would you be using the philosophy writings of someone who was clearly talking about humans?
Or a moral worth that's inherent because of you being an agent. So the question is, given what we know now about animals, how they function, how they behave, and what the definition of an agent is, are animals considered to be agents? Which brings us to premise number 2. Animals are agents. They pursue goals, learn, and adapt to their environments. So
that's a pretty big premise or assumption. Remember, he said, if I can prove that my first 3 premises are correct, then my conclusion is correct. This seems to me like a massive assumption. Like, I mean, it might be right, but it takes a lot of arguing to prove that's right.
if moral status is grounded in agency, the big question is, do animals qualify? Are agents. They pursue goals, learn, and adapt to their environments. So if moral status is grounded in agency...
Hang on. He's getting ahead of my head, man.
Premise number 2. Animals are agents. They pursue goals, learn, and adapt to their environments. So if moral status is grounded in agency,
So yeah, that's like building an assumption on an assumption, isn't it? Like what? Just because you can have a choice? Oh, I don't know, man.
Big question is, do animals qualify? Well, many philosophers have argued yes. For example, Christine Kierkegaard, who is a leading contemporary Kantian ethicist, she's pointed out that animals pursue...
No, I'm not saying that not being a vegan is right. It is, yeah, I'm not saying like being a vegan is wrong. I'm just saying, am I the only one that is not getting this argument?
Do their own goals, like they seek food, avoid harm, care for their young, and adapt to their environments, and therefore must be regarded as ends in themselves, as humans were for Kant. Meaning it's painfully clear to at least anyone who's honest that animals exhibit goal-directed behaviors, such as a bird building a nest to protect chicks and its eggs.
They do, clearly. So what's that got to do with not eating them?
Or a chimpanzee using sticks to extract termites. And Tom Reagan makes a similar argument. He calls animals subjects of a life, meaning they have experiences, desires, and a sense of their own existence. And like Kierkegaard, Reagan emphasizes that animals are not just passive objects, but active participants in their own lives.
And can this not also be completely true and that we still eat them? This is what I mean. Like, this argument about them having agency, so he's tried to like switch a sentience argument, which also didn't work for vegans, to agency, which is also not going to work. Just because an animal has agency or sentience, you've still got to go and tell me and 99% of the population of the world why we shouldn't eat them.
Furthermore, modern science shows that animals can solve problem-solving tasks, such as this study in which New Caledonian crows were able to solve novel, visually distinct problems. So it's abundantly clear that Kant's...
A pig might have completed a PhD. And maybe someone's still going to eat the bacon.
18th century idea that animals operated solely off instinct and lacked higher cognitive capabilities was a naive and very human-centric
Okay, that was stupid.
thing to say, and turned out to be very wrong. So if agency ground...
I kind of, yeah, I didn't really try to... I was trying to say something and I was kind of wrong there. What I'm trying to say is, you can argue, you could prove, I believe animals have sentience and agency. You can prove that all the while, right? But it's not going to change people who eat meat from thinking, well, I'm not going to just because there's sentience in animals. I believe there is sentience in pigs, cows. I've lived on farms and shit. Lambs. I've been around them. Yeah. I still eat them, right? So you could do all this argument all day about them being sentient or having agency, and I'll agree with you all the fucking way. But I'll still eat them. That's why it's pointless, this whole endeavor of this kind of like trying to find a silver bullet argument that's going to be, well, this is 100% right. The undeniable argument. It's not going to change shit, man.
Rights, and as we have seen, animals clearly are agents by the definition of the word agent. Again, I'm not making this up. They pursue purposeful, goal-directed behavior.
You know what vegans should be doing? Researching how to make cheese that is vegan cheese that is as good as cheese. So when you eat cheese, right, and I love cheese, it gives you like a opioid effect or something. It's great. Now, what they should be doing is let's find out who can make cheese that is going to give that to the people that are eating cheese now. And then some of those people who will, you could convince them dairy is wrong, will go, okay, but I'm not going to give up my cheese. And you go, well, you know what? Try this cheese, and it's just as good. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like imagine like back in the day, like vegans saying we shouldn't be using horses. It's cruel. It's terrible to be using horses on farms, and terrible to be using horses for horse-drawn carts and stuff. They can sing it all day, right? But you know what stopped that shit? Internal combustion engine. Tractors. Well, what's better than a horse? A fucking tractor. What's better than a horse-drawn cart? A fucking car. You don't see many horses around living under labor anymore, right? So vegans need to not provide arguments, need to provide solutions.
They make decisions, so they have moral worth, as all agents do. So that takes us to premise 3. Consuming animals entails treating them as mere resources rather than agents with their own interests. Probably the clearest example of this is factory farming. Here, animal...
And this is what pisses me off right here, right? Like, a lot of people who are not vegans are very against factory farming, intensive farming, low welfare farming. That's not veganism. Veganism means nothing. You don't eat any meat. You don't eat any fish. Doesn't matter how well it was, how good the welfare was. In fact, it's almost like a lot of the vegans go after high welfare ideas because that's a threat. It's a threat to the idea of zero. So I always get pissed off when vegans talk about factory farming, because I'm guessing what vegans are like 1% of the population, and probably like 50% of the population are actually against factory farming.
Are confined, manipulated, and killed, not because that serves their interests, but because it serves the interests of humans. As you can see in these images, cows stand in their excrement all day in crowded feedlots, while dairy cows are completely unable to move at all in these dairy
And I'm completely on board with that being a terrible thing. And I think a lot of people, like I said, I'm guessing at least 50% or 40% of the people would be against that. If you showed everyone this, probably 90% would be against it, right? But that's not veganism. Veganism is not about closing down factory farms. It's not about improving welfare. It's not even about meeting with those people and trying to make welfare better or improving like a bill of rights for animals or something. That's not what veganism, the political veganism or any of this shit is about. It's about eat nothing. And you can use, they're using the worst examples of animal agriculture. But they don't want to stop the worst of animal agriculture. They want to stop it all.
Carousels. And these practices aren't accidents, they're the logical outcomes of treating animals as resources. Which takes us to premise 4. Treating an agent as a mere resource violates that agent's inherent rights. So premise 4 just follows. If agents have rights and treating agents as mere resources.
Yeah, but this is all, we're talking about agents and all this sort of shit. This is sounding a little bit like Name the Trait. As at any point where we are talking about animals yet?
This ignores their rights, their inherent rights, it's a violation. So from these 4 true premises, we reach this validly derived conclusion that, therefore, humans ought not consume animals.
Step in, and the light welcomes you. Choose your vibe, 3 different light settings to match any mood. Check
The conclusion that, therefore, humans ought not consume animals.
Okay, so we've basically like had number 1 was an assumption, and then the next 3 were like assumptions built on that assumption, but somehow the assumption is completely true, therefore the conclusion is true. Okay, I admire Happy Healthy Vegan. And I even admire him like trying this whatever undeniable argument shit, but it's not worked. It doesn't make any sense really to someone who's uneducated like myself. And if it doesn't make sense to me, then it doesn't make sense to most of the population. It's pointless. It's this whole Discord autism shit, which, you know, one of the worst things that happened in my opinion to like online or YouTube veganism was Ask Yourself and his Name the Trait shit, and his whole idea about this like ethics as logic shit. I mean, if you think about it, right, like who convinced people to go vegan? It's not people like Ask Yourself. It's not people doing all this Discord logic bro shit. It's people like who lead by example. Like him or hate him, Dorian Ryder turned a lot of people vegan. Like, by example, look at me. I'm fucking lean ass, bro. Cycle up the door all the time. Like, lifestyle. Sold a lifestyle. Sold a mood. Sold a freely. Look how lean I am. I mean, she probably was vomiting into toilets often, I'm guessing. But still, it was effective, right? And this kind of shit is not effective, in my opinion.
So the logic is very simple. Agents have rights. Animals are agents. and exploiting animals violates those rights. So putting this all together, the conclusion is very clear.
Even if the conclusion is what you say it is, that humans ought not to eat animals, that's not going to convince anyone to not eat animals. It's not going to convince someone who's got some chickens in the backyard and no other way of having eggs or meat or chicken meat, you know, and it's not going to convince someone who their job is fishing. And that's it. All they do is go fish, right? It's probably not going to convince a lot of people who've grown up eating meat and don't see it the way you do. It's kind of a complete waste of time. It's like Happy Healthy Vegan is making the mistake of even associating himself with these retarded logic bro autist cunts like Ask Yourself by even just going down this road.
Clear that humans ought not, should not be consuming and or exploiting animals. So there you go. My title is not clickbait. This is an undeniable argument for veganism. And the reason why I say that is that my conclusion is...
You don't need an argument for veganism if it's about what you're living. Like, so say I'm a vegan, right? I don't need to argue with anyone about me being a vegan, and no one's going to argue with me about it. What you're talking about here is different. It's like saying you have to be a vegan because of this. That's not an argument. It's like, it's another word for it. It's like, I know what I'm trying to say. This idea like that infected the whole vegan movement with like this, you need an argument for veganism, and or you can argue this way, and you can like name the trait on people and stuff, and it's like, if you believe what you believe and you're living well and you're like, it's doing well for you, you can convince people by your own example. You don't need to pull all this weird shit, man.
Is necessitated given the valid argument structure that I use and the truth of these four premises. So if you don't like my conclusion, tough shit. No, I'm just kidding. No, if you don't like my conclusion, just tell me which of the four premises are wrong. I'm guessing
it started at premise 1, which is like and 2 and 3 and 4, which are all assumptions, built on assumptions.
And most people are going to try to go after premise 1 or 2. But I tell you, 1, you might not.
You know, I'm not going to go against any of the premises. I just think the whole idea of trying to come up with like a logic bro argument for veganism serves zero purpose in ever convincing non-vegans to become vegans. It's just some kind of weird insanity within the vegan movement to kind of, I don't know, it's almost driven by their own doubts, I think. They have to keep coming up with these kind of logic shit to support their own insecurity about their choices. And it shouldn't be. They should be proud of their choices. They should be like, I'm a vegan because I think it's fucking wrong to eat animals when I don't need to. That's it. It's that fucking simple. I think it's wrong to eat animals because I don't need to. That's it. Now, it becomes different when you try to tell someone else. Well, you can't say, well, you don't need to eat animals, so you shouldn't. That's different. How about lead by example?
Like it, you might not understand it because you haven't studied philosophy much, but as I clearly showed, premise 1.
Yeah, my problem is I didn't study philosophy.
Stands on some very solid philosophical footing. Like I said, you'd have to attack Immanuel Kant's ethical moral theories to really blast premise 1 out. And if you don't like...
And yeah, like, do you think that's going to stop anyone eating a fucking steak?
premise too that animals are agents, well, you're clearly wrong, because animals obviously make decisions. They pursue ends. They have goals, like a bird building a nest. So for everyone else, let me know what you thought of this argument. Let me know if you've ever seen an argument for veganism that's based.
Well, look, I didn't study philosophy. I didn't drop out of a PhD. My opinion is that this argument isn't an argument, and it's kind of bullshit. But that's just my opinion, and that my opinion doesn't matter. But I think a lot of people would share my opinion who are not vegans, and shouldn't the whole point, if you're going to be like a veganism means converting others, try to like reach out to non-vegans and convince them that maybe they don't need to eat meat and fish. This kind of syllogism bullshit, it's going to mean nothing to anyone, man.
An agency. Like I said, I don't believe there really is one. I really searched the philosophical literature, and I think I came up with a new novel argument. And like I said, it seems pretty tight. It's valid. The premises seem true. So hopefully I'm putting out a new argument for veganism that all of you can use. And again, it's pretty simple. Just 4 premises and a conclusion. I think once you understand the
absolutely zero carnists are going to be converted by this. Like zero.
concept of agency, you could present this argument to anyone and show them how what they're doing, consuming animal products, violates animals' rights. Animals are agents. They should not be consuming animals. So let me know what you think of this argument, if you think you'll use it.
And I'll say, like, I don't think he's wrong saying we shouldn't be consuming animals, if you can prove that we don't need to. Even then, it still should be a choice.
Comment, like, please share this video. I want it to get around. Like, I want everyone in the world to see this undeniable argument for veganism.
Yeah, it's right. He's right here. But he bans people who call him out or disagree with him in his fucking comments, right?
I don't think it'll go viral, but I would like this to be part of the vegan vocabulary as far as...
No, his thing is going to go viral. Like, I don't think he knows how twisted and fucking dark the logic bros are, right? The logic bro, ask yourself, Discord type vegan cunts, they will probably go after this, like, with fucking knives out. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just how they are. I'm being friendly here. I'm obviously pretty stupid, right? I mean, listen to the video. I'm not that smart. I don't know about philosophy. I have a critique on it, right? Wait till those logic bros get a hold of this, man. They'll fucking tear it apart, man. They'll be nasty about it too. I'm not going to be nasty about it because I think Happy Healthy Vegan is actually a cool guy. I think he's got like a good heart. Yes, he bans people. I don't like that. But other than that, he's basically a fucking hippie. And I can guarantee I would fucking get along with him if I ever met him.
Arguments that we can use. So anyway, guys, thanks so much. I'll see you guys Friday. Yeah, Friday. If you don't like my argument, you think it's complete crap and I'm making stuff up and the premises are all wrong, I'd love to hear from you. Come Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be civil and we can maybe have a discussion.
I used to love these live streams, man, because I get on them and he would like allow me to troll a little bit because I'm a little bit of a troll, you know. But eventually, like, he kind of realized, fuck this guy. He's like way too much of a troll.
So until then, guys, remember, doesn't like being vegan.
So yeah, check out Happy Healthy Vegan's channel. He's the OG. He's had a channel here since 2013. He's seen the rise of the VYC, vegan YouTube community, and the fall. And he's still here. trucking along. He is a man. Full respect to Happy Healthy Vegan. I probably shouldn't have made this video. I'm pretty fucking wasted. I should go to bed. See you later.